This is not the way that we actually test things in the real world. But what I'm looking to do is, because I have to generate some ideas, I'm just going to start going through charts and going through indicators. And if I find something that looks even remotely okay, well, that's a starting point. So now I can go to my backtesting system and I can say, here is a 2-period RSI. And I've built this thing that I showed, I think, in the last one. And this is kind of a decent little start. And the idea here is very, very simple for crypto here. I'm not going to go through everything right off the bat, but here we are for the system. The idea is that we want a 2-period RSI to be oversold, where we want a longer term period RSI not to be oversold. So to say, okay, let's just take a look at what happens if we are in a long-term uptrend, but we start buying short-term oversold conditions. And looks pretty good, right? Doesn't look amazing, but this is something that I would potentially trade if you combine this with a whole bunch of other systems that end up smoothing out the returns. But just looking at this, you're 21% year over year growth with a 23% max drawdown across 1,000 trades. You're right roughly 60% of the time, and you make a little bit more when you're right than you lose when you're wrong. Great, great statistics overall. So when I look at this, I say, well, that's a pretty good starting place. And that just came from looking at the nature of price action. Now, the big thing that I want to look at and I want to focus on is, now we need to go back to the chart and just say, okay, well, how can I sit out some of these the more disastrous periods? So what I would end up doing, the next step to this, is taking this price chart right here and lining it up, and you could do so in the system itself, and lining it up with this chart and trying to see, is there areas in which this system looks amazing? Is there areas in which this system doesn't? And start to learn from the price action like that. I got lucky just by taking kind of a random trade that kind of looked cool and then going from there. But this is the process that I wanted to show everyone. It's just generate ideas, however you do it, right? Read my stuff, watch, the things I do technical analysis on, go to Substack, read a whole bunch of other people's stuff, start going down that list. And the more you consume content and read and filter your universe into people that kind of make sense as to you as traders, then the better off you will do over in the long run, because you're just kind of letting information, letting ideas hit you all the time. And then I have a notepad. So I just have on my phone a simple notepad that I have called Crypto Systems, and I just start writing.